After what seemed like forever, we finally got a new trailer for Final Fantasy XVI during PlayStation's June 2nd State of Play. There's some really good stuff in there, new icons, and most important, new gameplay. I'll be breaking down the trailer because it is jam-packed with some stuff that's quite easy to miss. So if you're excited about Final Fantasy XVI like I am and you want to know more, then here we go. Starting off, we see a woman transforming into the wind icon Garuda. You might remember seeing her in the Awakening trailer from a few years ago. We now know that her name is Benedicta, and she's in command of the elite intelligencers of the Kingdom of Wallowit. And here's our first look at Bahamut. Notice the green eye on its forehead. Bahamut has always been one of my favorite summons in the series, and I'm glad to see that he looks like an absolute beast in 16. Here we have our first look at the HUD in his cinematic fight against an Imperial Lancer. At first I was thinking that this was a little too cinematic to be gameplay, but if you've played Final Fantasy VII Remake, then you'll know that during certain boss fights, sometimes the gameplay is interrupted by cinematic sequences, so I'm betting that this is exactly what we're seeing here. But before we move on, let's take a look at some of these HUD elements. To the left of the HP bar, we can see both Phoenix and Garuda, and it looks like they can be swapped by pressing L2. Above the HP bar are 5 perk boxes and the icons of a sword, what looks like motion or some kind of dodge, a timer, a bottle, and a paw print. If I had to take a guess, I would say that it could be similar to the buffs that you would get from eating meals in Final Fantasy 15. Again, just a guess. We'll have to wait and see what these perks are about. The bar underneath the Imperial Lancer's HP is a stagger meter. We'll see this in effect later on in the trailer. And with that being said, let's move on. Something interesting here. The boxes that had Phoenix and Garuda next to the HP bar are replaced by Clive's name. If I had to take a guess, this might be a point in the game where Phoenix is the only icon that Clive has acquired the powers of. There's a lot in this next part that's pretty easy to miss. Just as this next sequence starts, you can see an after image of Clive and precision dodge ×3 pops up. He then follows up with a precision counter, a burst shot, which is from using fire, then a lunge, and finishes with another burst shot. I'm foreseeing some insane combos in this game, especially since we know the combat director is none other than Ryota Suzuki, who worked on Devil May Cry 5 and Dragon's Dogma, both very good games. So it goes without saying that the combat in Final Fantasy XVI is in pretty good hands. At the bottom left we can see Potion, High Potion, and Strength Tonic mapped to the D-pad. And at the bottom right we have Attack, Fire, Phoenix Shift, and Jump mapped to the face buttons, with R2 in the center. This combo happens pretty quickly, but if you slow down the footage you can see both the attack and fire buttons being pressed. And I'm guessing that R2 is either pressed or held down to access Scarlet Cyclone and Rising Flames. It looks like Rising Flame is being used because the icon fades out just as the Phoenix Wing hits the Royal Folk Staff, causing Will Break and Iconic Strike to pop up. Iconic Strike seems to show whenever you use an icon ability. In this next section, we see the boxes with Garuda and Phoenix back again beside the HP bar, but this time joined by Titan. We know that it's later in the game due to the level of Clive and the Orcish Mesmerizer both being 33, as opposed to earlier when Clive and the Royal Folk Staff were both level 13. Underneath the HP bar are 3 new bars, with the first one being a little over half full. No idea what it does, but it seems to fill when enemies are hit by attacks. Maybe when they fill you are able to use stronger icon ability. Just a little speculation for now. Since Clive now has Garuda active, Fire is replaced by Arrow and Phoenix Shift is replaced by Deadly Embrace, which we actually get to see in action. We then see that the R2 button is being pressed again, and Wicked Wheel and Gouge pops up. Clive then swaps to Titan, which causes the previous face button actions to be replaced with Wind Up, Upheaval, and Titanic Block. Clive combos Wicked Wheel into Upheaval, causing a massive earthquake that sends all of the enemies flying. It looks like switching between icons will allow you to unleash all kinds of combos. As I said before, the combos in this game are gonna be sick. This next fight is a level 26 Clive against a level 26 Stone Jailer. This time we see Odin, Shiva, and Rama as the equipped icons. What's different this time is that we see Odin's name with a big 0 underneath and an empty bar next to it. On the face buttons we see Dark and Arm of Darkness. The Stone Jailer gets staggered and drops to his knees, leaving himself completely open to attacks. Clive, taking full advantage, uses Gungnir to attack, and we see golden damage numbers pop up along with a multiplier. Unlike Final Fantasy VII Remake, the multiplier doesn't seem to increase with the attacks, but what is filling at this point is the meter under the Odin counter. Unfortunately, we don't get to see what this does just yet. Here we see shirtless Clive and Benedicta. Could she be a romantic interest to Clive? Or maybe something else is going on. You know what I'm talking about. In the next section, we see Clive fighting a Curl. If you notice, unlike the previous enemies whose HP bars hovered above their heads, this Curl's HP bar is at the top right next to Clive's, just like the Imperial Lancers. We see Clive use the powers of Shiva to freeze the Coral in place with Diamond Dust and hit it with Thunderstorm. What's a little odd here is that Shiva doesn't use thunder, she uses ice. And if you look at the colors of the abilities, they're purple like Rama's icon. It even looks like he's using Rama's staff. But Clive doesn't have Rama equipped here. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Maybe we can swap the abilities around, I don't know. But moving on, Clive switches to Garuda for a Gambit counter, which goes into a deadly chain and then a deadly takedown. It's very easy to miss this, but he finishes by swapping to Phoenix for a Shift Strike. If you guys are liking the combat as much as I am, then hit that like button. It seems like the combination of abilities icons are going to be crazy good, and this is just from a few seconds of footage. Just wait until we get our hands on this game. Let's continue. Here's someone else you might remember from the Awakening trailer. This beast of a man is Hugo Kupka, and he's Titans dominant. In this fight with Clive, we see Hugo block Clive's sword with his forearm. So I'm guessing that Dominants can utilize their icon's power even in human form. Kind of makes sense considering that Clive can use them. Wait a minute, is Clive killing these people to take their icon's power? Or is there another way to obtain it? Here we see Shiva versus Titan, like in the old trailer. Then here's a better look at Bahamut, and our first look at Odin, who's looking pretty sick. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here, but it looks like the icons might be playable. We don't see any gameplay controlling them, only these cinematic scenes, but we can see their HP bars are on the top left and right. We've got Phoenix versus the icon of fire, Ifrit. Ifrit has just a sliver of HP left, but manages to take out Phoenix's full HP bar with Hellfire. Then there's Ifrit versus Titan, and Ifrit versus a mystery icon. This is very interesting. I'm not sure what this one is, but whatever it is freaking huge. If you have any idea what this could be, let me know down in the comments. And here's the thunder icon Rama. And now we're seeing Clive against Liquid Flame. Could this be the Liquid Flame from Final Fantasy V? What's interesting here is that we see Shiva using Diamond Dust. I honestly have no idea what's going on here. It looks like Shiva is fighting against Clive, but I'm not sure because I don't think that she would be called Liquid Flame. This one confuses me. And here's Garuda ripping off Ifrit's arm. Pretty crazy. I think that this was a really good trailer and much worth the wait. It was chock so full of info, so much so that it's very easy to miss some things, so let me know down in the comments if you noticed something that I missed. Final Fantasy 16 is looking so good, and I can't wait to get my hands on it, and hopefully if there's no delay, we'll get it in our hands in the summer of 2023. This video was different from anything I've done so far, so let me know how I did, and if you liked it, then please hit that like button. And if you want to see more Final Fantasy 16 news and info from me, then subscribe so that you don't miss out on anything, because this is just the first of many videos I'm going to be doing for this game. I'm Mako, and thank you all for watching my video. I hope to see you all in the next one, but until then, take care.